Conversation with a Cardinal, reviewing 50 years in the priesthood and 20 years in St. Louis. With Joseph Cardinal Ritter. Talking with Cardinal Ritter is Max Roby.
Your Eminence, you have marked 50 years in the priesthood. Obviously, things have changed a great deal from the time you became a priest until this time as Archbishop and Cardinal of St. Louis. What is the role of the priest today compared with when you entered the priesthood? Is it the same or is it vastly different?
Well, it's the same, basically, of course. But I think the priesthood today is being challenged more than ever before because of the development that has gone on in the world, in the field of education, for instance. The priest is dealing with a different kind of world than he did 50 years ago. And so the preparation of a young man for the priesthood today must be updated to meet the times in which we are living. Of course, one does that by one's reading, as you go along. You talk about the difference between 50 years ago and today. Well, there is a difference, there's a change, but it's been so easily occurring so easily that you don't notice it, you don't realize it. You stop to think, you see. But I can't perceive any really essential difference in the priesthood, for as far as I'm concerned, from the beginning, from time I was ordained until now.
How do you go about learning what the young priests of today are interested in and thinking about? And are you finding it difficult to find enough young men who want to be priests today, that have that same kind of boyhood desire that you had?
I think, of course, today, to answer your question, that there are young people, just as I had a desire to be a priest, who want to be a priest too. But on the way up to becoming a priest and to the education, the long years of preparation, there are many things that occur that didn't occur years ago. We're living in a different kind of society than we did at that time. It was a protected society. And today there's the affluence of society in the home. There's the perhaps lack of spirit of sacrifice, and also absorption with the modern development in science and all the fields, so that there are many distractions for a young man today aspiring to be a priest, and many decisions have been difficult for him to make decisions. And I think that's true of almost all young people in our secular colleges as well, because college people will tell you that the young men and young women finishing college and they're asked what do they want to do, they don't know. They don't know. They find it difficult to make a decision. And so it's true in regard to those aspiring to be priests. It's difficult for them to make the decision, seemingly to reach maturity or to attain that kind of maturity. They can make a definite, positive decision.
Also in connection with education, another situation in our own area here which has received some national attention and is taking place other places too, that is the bringing of laymen to the guiding forces of St. Louis University, switching from the strictly Jesuit administration of the school to bring in laymen. What is the significance of that to education?
Well, I think it is to introduce and to bring into the higher level of administration, particularly the abilities, other than clerical ability, I mean the lay ability. And that's, of course, a province of the laity, certainly. And so that it surely should improve, definitely, the policies of a school. I think it's reciprocal. I mean, perhaps a clergyman on the board or a bishop, some bishops and so forth, would add something. But to be exclusively bishops or exclusively priests, exclusively religious, I don't think it was too good. I mean, it would be much better because, after all, the university is serving not only the church, but serving the community.
This is a healthy change,
yes,
as you
I
see
think
it.
it's very healthy. And I think it would be a great help today for these schools to make a greater appeal to the community for financial assistance, which they need badly. All schools do, and all, particularly private schools that do not have huge foundations other than the foundation of persons, I mean, dedicated persons, which is a considerable foundation, considerable endowment, I might say, rather. And so that appeals must be made to corporation, to the civic community, to come to the assistance of these schools. Well, if they are strictly church schools in their administration, I mean, they're dominated by the church, it's very difficult to ask unbelievers and non-believers to subscribe, to help, to assist. Whereas if they are part of the school itself, see, these same people, as I understand, St. Louis University will have not only Catholic laymen, but non-Catholic laymen on their board. Jewish people and Protestant people, and Negro people, I understand, they'll be all represented.
It's not, goes beyond just bringing Catholic laymen into
the
school.
That's right.
Looking at Catholic education on the lower level than university, what's the outlook for the Catholic school system? And let's just confine it to our area here. Isn't this also becoming expensive and difficult
becoming
to get
real
teachers?
real problem because of the growth of the school and the need of more and more personnel. That has been a problem for a long time because the schools have been made possible through the dedicated services of religious men and women. There's an entirely different situation in the public school system than there was when the Catholic school began, when the private parochial school began, whether it be Catholic or Lutheran or whatever religion. Not so many of them, but they also had them. Because in those days it was felt that it was necessary to safeguard the faith of the child, because the public school was pretty much a Protestant school. It was Protestant ministers and so forth pretty much influenced the schools, and religion in a way was being taught. And
this is going back to the quite early days.
Yes, early, but that doesn't exist today anymore, nothing like that, you see. And so that, and then besides, we have now, we're steadily improving, and we always have had a problem of this kind because we only have, not in our locality, but throughout the country, we only have about 50% of our children in the parochial school, in the Catholic school. Here we have a higher percentage, perhaps close to 80%. But we have a considerable number of children who are in the public schools, and we must certainly service them, the church must, and provide schools of religion for them, which we are doing.
This might sound like a very fundamental or basic question. Why do you feel that a parochial school system is necessary or a good thing?
Well, I'd say if we were confronted with that, with the questions whether we should start parochial school today, I'm sure they wouldn't be started.
You don't think they'd be started today?
I don't think so.
Nothing has been more controversial in the area of race relations. Generally, this has meant relationships between Negroes and white people. You yourself have been a leader in the field of establishing these relations. Do you think that many people tend to conform to the letter of doctrine or regulation and try to avoid the spirit of it? Or do you think that the spirit of brotherhood is improving?
Well, it is definitely improving with the assistance of education, assistance of legislation. There's been great progress. But as you know, and everyone knows, that you cannot eliminate the basic, perhaps, problem in this regard in human relations is prejudice. And that's an emotional thing. And you don't eradicate it by a program of education or by legislation. It's a very difficult. We're paying the price for neglecting to give justice to our fellow man in the past, in particular the Negro, for over 100 years in our country. We're paying the price for that now because we are finding it very difficult to establish a spirit of justice and charity among our two groups, the whites and the Negro people.
There's no question in your mind, is there, that Christianity demands this of us?
Oh, definitely. And again, the liturgy we spoke of, which I think is really basic in everything that the Council has done. I think it is providential, and I think it was deliberate on the part of, I suppose it was Pope John, who selected the liturgy as the first matter for discussion, because it has for its purpose, it can accomplish an interior renewal of a person, which would in turn develop that spirit of community, that spirit of relationship, whether white or black or Jewish or what, you see, and with it a desire to give justice to that person and to practice charity, to goodwill.
I seem to detect, Your Eminence, in some of your thoughts, what I guess we would call personal responsibility, the responsibility of the individual to think, do, and act in this way. How does this fit in with your thinking? Is that correct?
I don't quite understand you. I mentioned that I more or less not condemn, but individualism. I mean that I'm striving to convey the idea of community, which is so basic today, not only in the church but in society, to correct that very thing that has been spoken of so often about the fact that people do not want to become involved in other people's problems. They want to pull away from them when they should, wanting to be involved, to be assistant, to give justice, to give help, to give that's Christianity, and that's what the liturgy is striving to do, to create a Christian spirit in the hearts of our Christian people, of our Catholic people. And to do that, you have to have the spirit of community, of relationship with one another, and not individualism, not an individualistic approach to things. See, myself, but you and all of us together. It's idealistic, I know, but we must strive for that, and that is what has been lacking, and perhaps that's what has been in society, surely, and what is needed in society. And it's one of the things that we Catholic people and all Christian people have. There's too much selfishness, to put it plainly, you see.
Well, there are some people who are hesitant about these changes, may even resist them. What is the necessity and the explanation for these rather dramatic changes after almost centuries of tradition?
As I say, to make them fit into our modern society. Today, surely there's a need for the better understanding of our social obligations and responsibilities towards our fellow men. Years ago, that was not nearly as important, or rather it was important, but it was never recognized, because people lived a most to themselves. Nobody does today. We're thrown in contact with one another constantly, with the world, because of communications, transportation, and so forth. And so religion must play a part, a greater part in society as such, and its social structure. And that has been lacking, and perhaps has created what we would call not an irreligious society, but surely one that's not religious, and one that is not as meaningful, or not as meaningful, not one that has not established that relationship among people, which is lacking today. You mentioned some time ago something about people not wanting to be involved when they have to be involved today. And that's what the liturgy now is striving to do, is to involve our people to form the habit of involvement, because they're getting involved with one another in the liturgy as a community. They're working together, praying together, praising God together. And there's a new understanding of their fellow men. And with that new understanding, there will come greater justice, greater spirit of charity, greater spirit of love.
What is the mission of the church today as far as reaching out to people is concerned? We hear about work that needs to be done in the inner city, and there's a problem of all churches trying to help out together in those problems. Yet you've been very active in establishing missions out of this country, despite, I believe, a shortage of priests. What is the church doing? What should the church be doing in regard to the mission?
Well, again, it's a matter of the church and Catholics, Christians, recognizing their responsibility to their fellow man, whether he be in Europe or whether he be in South America or whether he be in the inner city. It's as simple as that. What goes on in the inner city should be of concern to the Catholic out in Clayton or to any other section of the western part of the county, so forth. He cannot be, if he's a good Christian, cannot be indifferent to the situation down here. And if that being the case, that will itself, if he's convinced of that, to lead to action, to doing something about it, trying to seek a remedy for it. Of course, the field of the church is not to actually take hold of the technical problems that exist oftentimes in these areas. That is outside of his province. But to give leadership and to give to its own community, whether it be Protestant or Catholic, to create a moral force that would alleviate and seek a betterment of social conditions.
As a result of the ecumenical movement, let's look right here at the local scene a moment. Are we getting together, and are things different now than they were a few years ago?
Oh, very much so, very much so. I think there's always been a goodwill here, but ecumenism is not just goodwill, not just tolerance, you know. Ecumenism, of course, is a movement to bring about gradually a unity, see, of Christians, Catholics, and Protestants, Greeks, Orthodox, so forth, because this division all recognizes an unnatural thing. And so ecumenism has for its purpose to bring about, for instance, it's been going on among the Protestant churches for a good while, bringing about the merging of various denominations, and a real sincere desire for accomplishing not only unity among themselves, but also union with all Christians. And that has grown now since the church, the Catholic Church, for a good while, watched this spirit, you see, grow. And undoubtedly it was a spirit that was awakened not by man, but there was something supernatural about it. Not something, it was a supernatural thing. And it became apparent that the Catholic Church, which is Christian, must be a part of this. See? And so that is what has inspired the setting up of a decree on ecumenism. Not only approving it, but definitely spelling out that it should be fostered, actively fostered. And so that is what's going on all over the world today, and it's going on in our country. I think very well. I think in our own community it is. We have a commission for ecumenism, and we have a very fine relationship with the various groups, Protestant groups, gathering together for seminars, meeting on various levels to create, but to bring about better understanding, to see where we have things in common, which is mostly the case.
You think we have more in common than we
definitely,
don't?
very definitely. We have more in common than we are. And of course, this is something, again, that's strange to many people. I guess Protestants as well as Catholics. But it's really sad to see how that such a spirit was permitted to grow, or rather of separation, see? And maybe even worse, I mean, of suspicion and of antagonism. And today, now, there's a awakening everywhere. People's consciences are disturbed and should be disturbed by that kind of a situation, to carry that. And of course, in the early days where there was great fear of the loss of faith, particularly on the part of the Catholics, no doubt many individuals have promoted this sort of a suspicion to defend themselves, see, which is, of course, the worst kind of defense that we engaged in. But the spirit, the ecumenical spirit is growing. I don't think anything can stop it. Now, how long it will take to bring about a real union, that is in God's hand. But it may come much more quickly than we realize. We don't know what events in history ahead of us, the future, could bring about a situation where unity could come very quickly.
What did Pope John envision? You had the opportunity of hearing his thoughts on these things. How did he express himself on the ecumenical movement?
Well, he immediately expressed himself by welcoming to him, to meet with him the leaders of the various denominations, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and received him on an equal basis, you see, not as the Pope, but as a brother bishop. And immediately indicated his desire for greater cooperation. And of course, I think his mission was definitely a providential one in every respect. He wanted to renew the church and after the spirit of Christ. And of course, that would embrace all Christians, surely. And we all have the same goal with Christ.
Your Eminence, do you yourself have a feeling of optimism about the reunion of Christians throughout the world?
Oh, I must have. As a Christian, I mean, I must have that desire, and surely, if I do, because believe in the providence of God, and particularly in the events now that are occurring, these are all signs. Don't you think they are signs from above, God, leading men to desire? If they desire it, it's going to be accomplished.
They certainly are the opposite of the ideas expressed by some that God is dead, to use the phrase that has been used so much.
Yeah. Well, you have to do something to get people to think about God. Maybe that's one way, by denying that he exists, which is to be understood, of course, in the light which it is said, too.
After 50 years in the priesthood and about 75 years of age, are You looking forward to tomorrow and next year and the year after that? And
I thought you were going to say it's about time for you to quit. Well, I suppose after 75 years that a person does give some thought as to he always gives some thought what the future is going to be. But I suppose the simplest philosophy of life would be to take the years as they come. And I said to someone recently that I think it's about time, perhaps, that I'd be asking to let some younger people take over and so forth. And he said, "Oh, you have plenty mileage left." But I don't know how much mileage I have left. But certainly I think we should be encouraged in facing the future. While there are many, many problems in every field of endeavor today, these are all things that should challenge one if he has the faculties, his intellectual faculties, to meet them. And of course, in all the professions now, in all the various vocations, rather, business, so forth, we know how after a certain age that you're supposed to step aside for the younger fellow. And that maybe ought to be true in the church, too. And it is true. The council did enact not legislation, but it indicated that bishops should think about giving up when they're 75, at least that time.
Well, in spite of all the problems you mentioned, you see light ahead, not darkness.
Oh, yes, definitely. It would be a sad situation if we ever allowed ourselves to look at life like that, you know. Nothing but, particularly for anybody who believes in God, believes in the divine providence, and seeing that God has God has directed us and guided us through many, many situations, critical situations, the church and individuals. So, again, the liturgy in renewing the interior of Christian life and creating a stronger faith and stronger charity, love of God, love of neighbor, is to face the problems of today. A reason for the renewal of the liturgy, that it is to create that internal strength of faith and love that is so important to meet life, to battle with the problems of life, and to create a new humanity, a better humanity, one that is truly human, a humanity that is as God gave it to us.
Thank you, Your Eminence.
You're welcome.
A conversation with a cardinal on the 50th anniversary of his priesthood with Joseph Cardinal Ritter, talking with Max Roby, was produced in cooperation with the Radio Television Apostolate of the Archdiocese of St. Louis. This broadcast was spontaneous and unrehearsed, but was condensed and edited by KMOX-TV.